for us to sit with a former finance minister and a member of parliament for Karaga. And he's a leading member of the Bawumia campaign. And this is Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam. Good morning, sir. Happy New Year, because this is the first time we are meeting on the show. But why did you decide to take a job that belonged to a colleague of yours? Because that is recent.
Well, I think this is pettiness, and I don't have the energy to discuss pettiness. The business of government, governing a country, is serious business, and so our focus as campaign is how to get our candidate, Dr. Bawumia, elected by the delegates of the NPP. Not just elected, but massively elected. Therefore, our focus is how to prepare him to eventually become president of the Republic and govern our country for the benefit of our people. That is our focus, and I want to end it at that.
So you're not worried about the fact that he's accusing you of taking his job and that you were favored?
It is not worth being discussed. It's pettiness. And that should not distract us from our focus in getting our candidate elected. And as I said, you are electing somebody to become the flag bearer of your party and to eventually become president. We should not reduce it to such pettiness. And so I don't think it is worth being discussed.
But if you were favored, doesn't it speak about him if he becomes president? Well, that's the point he wants to make.
But that is what I'm saying, that our focus is to rise above that.
Okay.
Because we should not reduce this MPP flag bearer contest into who is favored and who is not favored.
Okay.
It is not about me. Right.
But were you favored?
It is about our candidate.
Were you favored?
If it is favoritism, I think that people should know where I'm coming from. I have been in this party for a very, very long time. And those who know me will know that I didn't support Nana Akufo-Addo. Yeah. I supported Kufuor, I supported Alan Chilmartin. And eventually, if Nana Akufo-Addo had to consider somebody, he would not consider somebody who was an opposition to him. So let's end it there.
Okay. So you want to say yours was on merit?
We want to focus on getting our candidate elected. That is what is important for us at this stage.
But if you say you want to focus on getting your candidate elected, this is a candidate that managed a little over 40% in the last election. And some of your party members have said, why must we repeat him with the abysmal performance that he had? They say, change him. Why are you still saying that he's the one the party should consider?
I don't know what you call abysmal performance. I'll give you a context. For example, President Kufuor got 39% when he contested in 1996. We repeated him in 2000 and he won. Okay. If you come to President Mahama, in 2016, President Mahama lost the election with about 44% of the votes. Bawumia got almost 42%. But if you look at the context in 2016 and the context in 2024, they are so different, completely different. In 2024, the environment was so toxic, was so hostile, because we were just recovering from a crisis that was not caused by mismanagement, a crisis that was not caused by the government at the time, by a crisis that was imposed on not only Ghana, across the world. And we were now recovering from that. And so some of the decisions we had to take including some of the bitter decisions we had to take under the IMF program, really were overwhelming on the people. And so that environment cannot be compared with 2016. But even with that, the difference between what President Mahama got, 44, and what Bawumia got, 42, is just 2 percentage points. And so we have something in political science we call electoral floor and electoral ceiling of a candidate. The electoral floor of a candidate is the total number of votes the candidate gets in a hostile election, for example. That is your floor. Assuming you don't have that hostility, what will you get? That would be your ceiling, electoral ceiling. So, looking at the circumstances at the time, Bawumia's 42% was his electoral floor. They were the people who still trusted Bawumia, despite the anger against our government at the time. So we are yet to see Bawumia's electoral ceiling. In 2028, that hostility in the electoral environment will be absent, because we will be judging the NDC against their performance, because they've been given the mandate by Ghanaians who felt that NDC could do better. It is not going to be NPP. But I even believe that by that time, people would have appreciated some of the decisions we took as a government, as a result of which people got angry with us. For example, people are talking about the Cedi being stable today, and the NDC government has done well as a result of that. The performance of the Cedi today is as a result of the foundation the NPP built when we were in government.
Why do you say so?
If you read recently the new framework for forex management issued by the Bank of Ghana, it is very clearly stated that this government, the Bank of Ghana's forex management policy, is anchored on the domestic gold purchase program.
Yes.
When was the domestic gold purchase program introduced? In 2022. In 2022. And that is the anchor. It was Bawumia who introduced and implemented through the Bank of Ghana the domestic gold purchase program. And the NDC acknowledges that. You can go and read the memo to Parliament on the passing of the Gold Board Act. It's very clearly stated. Except that at our time, we're piloting the policy. And also because we were not intervening in the market, the forex market, at the levels that we are seeing today. So the NDC
so you were intervening, but not
of course,
at the same level.
There's always been intervention.
Okay.
At the level of intervention is what differs. Okay. And so the NDC won power, and they decided to intervene heavily. And so if you have to intervene heavily, you will require more gold. And so they decided to scale up the gold purchase program through the establishment of the gold board. But this was something which was being done by PMMC under the domestic gold purchase program once introduced in 2022. And so what the NDC has done is really not new. They have really scaled up. That's what they have actually done, scaled up the domestic purchase program, which we would have done as well. Because you look at a statement made by Dr. Bawumia in August when he delivered our manifesto to the people of Ghana. He said, and I would like to quote, I have something here that, yes, he said, and I quote, "From the success of the pilot scheme, we can confidently say that we have found a solution to the age-old foreign exchange problem that successive governments have struggled to contain." This is Dr. Bawumia saying, talking about the domestic gold purchase program on 19th August 2024, when we were launching our manifesto. And then, in that same speech, he came to say that, and I quote, "My government will completely institutionalize the gold for forex program." So having been piloted and it was working, he was promising the people of Ghana that when voted into government, he will institutionalize, fully institutionalize the gold for Forex program. And so it is not new. The NDC has scaled it up, and we must acknowledge that. What we wouldn't have done, maybe, is buy gold from galamseyers, which they are doing.
They said they are not doing
No, but
that.
President Mahama said that when he met the media, he agreed to that. We wouldn't have done that. But the intention behind the statement by Dr. Bawumia was that we would also institutionalize and scale up. But also because the level of intervention that we are seeing today would have required that you scale up. Then, back again to the Cedi. People have asked, then if it was your policy, why didn't you bring the Cedi to the dollar rate down? If it is easy to do, why didn't you do that? And this is the point. In 2023, we started an IMF program. The IMF actually restricted the amount of forex intervention the Bank of Ghana could undertake. The Bank of Ghana was required to do not more than $80 million a month as far as intervention. $80 million a month. And actually by November 2024, it was to be reduced to $60 million. Because the IMF program was built around a flexible exchange rate system, which allows demand and supply to determine the rate, and not necessarily based on intervention. This was also because our reserves, international reserves, had depleted, and we needed to build up the reserves. And so you cannot be building the reserves whilst intervening, in a forex acute environment. And so they restricted us to do not more than $80 million a month.
But we have
today, in December, by December 3rd, 2024, when we were going through the third review of the IMF program, the IMF lifted that restriction. The restriction to do $80 million a month was lifted.
in December.
And so you could see.
But it was lifted in December 2025.
January, yes. 2024.
Okay. It was lifted in 2024.
2024, December 2024.
But if it was lifted, why did IMF again warn Bank of Ghana not to?
I'm coming there.
Okay.
It was lifted in December 2024. Okay? Because the IMF then realized that we had built more reserves above the program target. The Bank of Ghana International Reserve had reached almost $9 billion United States dollars at the time. Whereas
December 2024?
2024.
9 billion?
Yes, 9 billion United States dollars. And the IMF target was about $6 billion. And so the IMF considered that we had built sufficient reserves above the program target. And so they lifted the restriction. And so you will see that the Bank of Ghana stepped up the intervention above $80 million a month. And so the rate came down from about 16 cedis to $1 in November to 14 cedis to $1 by the time we exited office. But we didn't stay long.
In January?
Yes.
Was it not 15?
No, it was 14. Okay. January 6.
Okay.
It was 14 cedis to $1. And so we did not win power to continue to implement our monetary policy.
Okay.
The NDC came and they started using the reserves that we had built. There was no restriction any longer. And so they were intervening heavily. And so imagine a government that could intervene by only $80 million a month. And a government now that is intervening an average of $1 billion United States dollars a month. Can anybody say that the NDC government is doing magic on the management of the city?
But you mentioned earlier that you couldn't intervene and still keep building your reserves. But they've done the two. They've intervened and they've built the reserves.
Why they are able to do that is that they've scaled up gold purchase domestic gold purchase, which was also our policy. And they are buying gold from galamseyers, and they are not even using that gold to build the gold reserves of the Bank of Ghana. They are selling for forex. Okay? Because when we left government, we had built the gold reserve of the Bank of Ghana to about 30 tons. They've just added 3 tons since they assumed government. And so they are not building the Bank of Ghana gold reserve. They are selling the gold and bringing that money. Okay? And that is what they are using to intervene. But at the same time, the other sources of building the reserves, cocoa prices, gold prices generally have gone down, gone up. Exports of cocoa and gold have gone up. That is what is going to build the reserves. The IMF money has come. It's also gone into the reserves. That is why they are able to do the two.
But people argue.
Yes.
When you say this, they tell you that if buying more gold to sell to shore up the city could help bring such relief we are seeing today, why didn't you do it? Because the NDC is being praised for it because Ghanaians are getting the relief in reductions in cost of items or goods and services. And so people say, well, we applaud the government for it. If it was easy, why didn't you do it then?
If you go back to Dr. Bawumia's statement that I read.
You said it was, you were...
we piloted it.
You were piloting it.
Yes. And he told the Ghanaian people that we had now found the solution to the age-old foreign exchange problem. And so his government, if elected, was going to fully institutionalize. Okay? And so we also would have scaled up because we found it as the solution. We found it as a solution. We would have scaled up. But the difference would have been whether we will also be scaling up by buying galamsey gold. Because there are other sources.
But that's my next question.
Yes.
If you say you're going to scale up, without going to the small-scale miners, let's not even say galamsey, small-scale miners, how are you going to do it?
Already we were buying from small-scale miners. But galamsey is different from licensed small-scale miners.
We all know that.
So we would have bought from licensed small-scale miners. And also we could have negotiated with the large-scale miners to increase the quantity, the volumes that we're buying from them. So we would have scaled up.
Okay. So in all of this...
And so this is the reason I think that we should move away from pettiness, because the business of government is a serious one. And you want people who are visionary, who have ideas.
And Dr. Bawumia is the one.
He has that. He has demonstrated that. And I'll give you another example. Some people say, in fact, some of the candidates, that they can create jobs because they are business people. Of course, a businessman can create jobs for people. But a visionary man can create jobs for a generation. So you build a factory, you employ 100 people. A businessman, you've achieved your objective. You have created jobs. But a visionary man will create jobs for a generation.
What do you mean?
Not just tens and hundreds of people, but thousands. Lifelong jobs. And so Dr. Bawumia also helped us to introduce the mobile money interoperability policy. And that was revolutionary. At the time we took over in 2017, mobile money agents were about 107,000 agents. June 2025, 6 months after NPP left office, the number had ballooned to 900,000 mobile money agents. That is just one idea by a visionary Bawumia, which has taken the number of mobile money agents from 107,000 people at the time we took office in 2017 to now over 900,000. So one idea by Bawumia has created 800,000 jobs. That is what I mean when I say that a visionary man creates jobs for generations. And so you cannot compare the people who are saying they've created jobs and so give us a chance, we will create more jobs for people. Just one idea by Dr. Bawumia. You can talk about many ideas on the digitalization program of the government that has equally created jobs. You can talk about the DRIP program, for example, that has created jobs. You can talk about the one constituency, one ambulance program, which has created jobs. You can talk about the one village, one dam.
Are you still talking about that?
Yes.
One village, one dam.
Look, if you do not come from a farming community in the north, you won't appreciate what it has done for our people. In my constituency, there are about 4 one village, one dam projects, which are functioning today. Those communities didn't have dams. Today they have dams. The dams have even expanded. In dry season, as we are in the north today, there is water in those dams.
Because we did a documentary where we couldn't find the dams.
Come to my constituency tomorrow. I'm happy to take you to Karaga constituency to see one village, one dam projects and how they are serving the communities.
How many did the government take?
I don't have the figure of head.
Okay.
But this is just to underscore the fact that when we talk about a candidate who is visionary and who can create jobs, we are talking about a candidate that can create jobs for generations. Okay? And that is what Bawumia has demonstrated. And so across whatever factors you want to consider, this man is a man of impeccable character. Okay? Bawumia won't insult anybody, however much you provoke him. This is a man who is so humble. Sometimes his humility, is beyond description. Bawumia is so humble. This is a man who is a technocrat. And so when we say Bawumia is an economic wizard, we are not lying. Bawumia's policy is what this current government is priding itself over.
But he's accused of running away from the economy. People say, yesterday I was talking to Mr. Yantichi, and the argument is that former President Akufo-Addo nominated Bawumia with the explanation that he understands the economy and he would help him run the economy. But he's the same person under whose watch the economy crumbled. And then people say he distances himself from the economy.
No.
And takes what is right or what worked.
No. The economy crumbled because there were factors beyond our control. Bawumia didn't bring COVID. Bawumia didn't impose the Russia-Ukraine war. And when you are running an economy, there are factors, exogenous factors, that are beyond your control. You can manage them to some level, but you cannot have full control over them. And that was why when we started the IMF program, the IMF insisted that we should build the reserves, the international reserves of the country, so that we can use it to cushion ourselves when we have crisis. That was why reserves that we had built so much before COVID could take us to 4 months of import cover. But as a result of COVID, we had to rely on the reserves. And the reserves depleted to the extent that by the end of 2022, we were running below 3 months of import cover. Because you agree that you must build resilience to be able to offset the effects of external exigencies. And so it wasn't Bawumia who caused it. But what did Bawumia do to help us come out of the recovery? The domestic gold purchase program was introduced. And that helped a lot in bringing us to the recovery levels. And so by the time we left government, the economy was growing at 5.7%. The economy, overall growth, real GDP growth in 2024 was 5.7%. I'm sure you listened to Honorable Atufosin's budget when he came to Parliament in November. He projected the economy to grow this year, 2025, full year growth at 4%. So how can you tell me that an economy that grew at 5.7% was a bad economy? That economy crumbled.
Yeah.
And now,
It's confirmed here because it says GDP expanded by 6.1% in the first 3 quarters of 2025, up from 5.7% during the same period in 2024.
Yes. So how can you say that economy crumbled? We faced economic difficulties. We were in crisis, which were not caused by us. But we implemented policies, some of the policies even to our disadvantage. For example, the domestic debt exchange program. People got angry about that. You saw the demonstrations, elderly people demonstrating. And, people got angry. These were policies we had to implement to save the country. And we ended the year demonstrating that our policies were really good policies. Okay? If the NDC government is doing propaganda, of course, we are entitled to do propaganda, but the data is there. So Bawumia did not run away from
these
that.
These are your own men,
yes.
Your own people.
Yeah, like what? I don't understand.
And those who say that he's been running away are your own people.
No, but
because
they don't understand. They want to find something bad to say about him. And that's exactly what do you expect. If you are contesting elections with you won't find things to say about me, even if it is not true. Now, people have made noise about digitalization, that Bawumia ran away from the economy to digitalization. What do you mean by running away from an economic digitalization? Today, I went to Estonia, and when you go there, the Minister for Finance, in fact, the Ministry of Finance in Estonia is also the Ministry of the Digital Economy. It's finance and the digital economy.
Okay.
You go to many advanced countries, they now have ministers in charge of digitalization. Full ministers, cabinet ministers, in charge of digital economy. And so, in our current industrial revolution, the industry that is leading the revolution is the digital industry. And it has generated substantial resources for countries. Any country in the world today that wants to develop and grow without giving attention to the digital economy will fail. In this age of Facebook, TikTok, the internet, etc., etc., there is no country that can develop and grow without a focus on the digital economy. And so you just cannot divorce digitalization from the economy. It is becoming an anchor, the anchor of economic management. And this is why the NDC has not run away from the digitalization program of the government, something they criticize Dr. Bawumia so much about. Today they are praising Dr. Bawumia. The Bank of Ghana recently talked about the Bitcoin? The Bitcoin exchange.
Yes, yeah.
When did it start? When did the pilot start?
They call it, is it digital asset or so?
Yes, the digital Cedi. When did it start? It was started by us. And we developed the policy, and we piloted it under our government. The Bank of Ghana is running around with it as if it is something new. If digitalization is not part of an economy, how can you have a digital Cedi? How can we do that? Why is it that today you go to a bank and the means of verification is your national ID, the Ghana card? What is it? It's the Ghana card. You can even travel to some countries just by showing the Ghana card. So anybody who tries to divorce digital economy from overall economic structure of a country is myopic, is uninformed, is ignorant about economic management. And that is why I call Bawumia visionary. Bawumia saw what could happen to the world in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, what will be the anchor of proper economic management, and decided to champion that. Today, you sit in your home and you can renew your NHIS card. You sit in your home and you can buy power, electricity, you can buy from ECG. What is it? I already talked about Momo. Look, when COVID struck Ghana, by the end of 2022, the World Bank reported in a report, that report is available, it's online, that 800,000 Ghanaians who were out of poverty had been taken back to poverty. 800,000 Ghanaians. That is what COVID did to us. And if Bawumia's idea of mobile money interoperability has created 800,000 new jobs, what does it tell you? And this is a digital program, a digitalization program. Mobile money interoperability is part of the digital economy. 800,000 new jobs against the 800,000 people who were out of poverty but brought back into poverty as a result of COVID. Bawumia alone would have solved that problem COVID brought on us. And he would have done it through digitalization. And so I really don't see why sometimes people will say things without really doing proper analysis of what those things are. And I hope by this submission, I have convinced people who held that view to understand that the digital economy is a major part of the economies of all countries around the world, and it will continue to be. But the World Bank report says 850,000 Ghanaians have been pushed into poverty, joining the 6 million already in that category. Between January and December 2022, year-on-year inflation rose from 14 to 54%. That is what you are reading. The report I just alluded to.
Yeah, I mean, a story that was done out of
exactly.
that. Says,
so I wasn't cooking the story, the data.
But it's sort of to say that because there wasn't buffer, that's why these people were pushed into poverty.
Yes.
And that's government's work.
But we've always had low buffers in the country. The first time we reached $9 billion US buffer was in 2024, December 2024. It was a recognition of the fact that we had to build the buffers through our international reserves. Today, it has increased, I understand, to about $12 billion because the NBC also recognized the fact that we need to build the buffers to continue.
As in our reserves?
Yes.
It's 13-point-something billion dollars.
Yes, that's our buffers. Okay, and if you had $6 billion before COVID, now reduced to some $3 billion, it somehow recognizes the fact that buffers are important. But for the buffers we had built, millions would have been taken back into poverty, not 800,000. And I'm saying that through the digital economy, the digital ideas of Bawumia, mobile money interoperability alone would have accounted for the 800,000 that went back to poverty by the creation of 800,000 new jobs.
New jobs.
Through mobile money interoperability alone.
But the argument the other sides do make is that, I mean, for example, the Kennedy Airport campaign team say, he is a charismatic person, someone who is loved by both sides, whether the person is NDC or what. Isn't that a currency the NPP needs now?
Oh, I think that we must first of all understand that the election in Ghana is based on vision.
Okay.
When you have your vision and you explain your vision well, you media people have told us that we didn't explain ourselves well. We did so much work, we didn't explain to Ghanaians. So that could be one of our failures.
Okay.
But if you have a candidate like Bawumia who is visionary, and people know that Bawumia has ideas, and we explain our issues well, it really will not matter. Because the Ghanaian people who understand the message and who understand the effect of that message will vote for you. Now, let's look at the polls issued by Musa Dankwa. I really don't, I don't get fixated by those polls. I have to be frank with you, because I need to interrogate the methodology for that.
Okay.
If you look at those polls, it will tell you that among Ghanaians generally, Bawumia is doing better than all the other candidates.
I think it's 54.7 or
yes, 54.7.
Point something, yeah.
He's doing better than all the candidates. And then he comes to talk about NPP. So when you talk about among Ghanaians, who are the Ghanaians?
All of us.
All of us. It will cut across political parties, including the NDC. Isn't it? And he has shown NDC floating voters, he has shown that in his research. And so that debunks that story.
Okay.
Okay. And secondly, why should the NDC choose a candidate for the NPP? What would be the objective? To say that because NDC people support an NPP presidential hopeful, NPP should elect that person as the candidate. What would be the interest of the NDC? To tell the NPP people that select this candidate because we like him. Why? What would be their interest? And so the NPP delegates must choose wisely.
Okay. It's not wrong for them to say, we fear this more than anyone.
We fear this more than... Yes, but the one that they will fear is the one that we should elect. And so if they are saying that NDC people like other candidates, it should tell us something. They want somebody they can easily beat. Because the NDC wants to continue to be in government.
But they've beaten Bawumia before.
They've beaten Bawumia before. But NPP has also beaten them before. They've beaten Kufuor before. They've beaten Akufo-Addo before. So if they've beaten Bawumia before, that is no story. Let me tell you something. In our party, NPP, anytime we have put up a candidate for the first time, that candidate lost the election. So it's not Bawumia. When we put up Professor Edubuahin in 1992, he lost. We put him up for the first time, he lost. We put President Kufuor for the first time in 1996, he lost. We put Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for the first time in 2008, he lost. We put Bawumia in 2024 for the first time, he lost. So if they've beaten Bawumia, they've beaten others before. And this is the sequence. That has been the trend. But anytime we repeat a candidate, that candidate won. When we didn't repeat Edubuahin, we lost. We repeated Kufuor, we won. We repeated Nana Akufo-Addo twice, we won. So we economists, we determine the future based on historical data. So what does our history tell us as a party? If we repeat Bawumia, we will win. Because history has demonstrated, and history repeats itself. If we put up Bawumia again, we will win. Because that is our history. You put Kufuor and put him the second time, he won. Nana Akufo-Addo, you repeated, he won. Why should we not repeat Bawumia when our own data, our own history, and the behavior of voters of NPP has shown that this is the way to go? And if we have put anybody for the first time and the person lost, you want us to put one of the other candidates who will be contesting for the first time, and again we will lose. And I don't know, if people see the enormity of the exercise we are going to do on 31st January, if people really understand it. Look, if we don't choose wisely a candidate that can win this election for us, and we have demonstrated more than enough, Bawumia is the one who will win this election. If we don't choose him, and we bring somebody for the first time for experimentation, and this is no time for NPP to do experimentation. If we do experimentation and choose a candidate who will be beaten by the NDC, they are the incumbent, don't forget. They have the resources.
Yes, but they
have the power
but they will be presenting a new candidate.
They will present a new candidate, but that's what I'm saying. But they are in government.
You are in government.
We were in government, but I just told you the difficulties that affected us as a government. Mahama would have done just 4 years. Okay? And before I came in, someone was telling me that, oh, Mahama is doing well. Mahama is not going to contest, but Mahama is going to support his candidate. Isn't it?
Yeah.
The government will support their candidate. So if we don't take care and we do experimentation, and the NDC, even if they also do experimentation by bringing a new candidate, and the likely event that they win, we will be in opposition for 12 years. NPP will be in opposition for 12 years because, as history again has told us, the one who will win will also be given a second term, isn't it?
It didn't happen to Mahama.
Yeah, but he's gotten his second term.
Yes, after the break.
He's gotten, yeah, except that. He's gotten it back. He's gotten his second term. Okay, so it can be consecutive. It can also come later. But if we make that mistake, likely, potential, we'll be in opposition for 12 years. By the end of the 12 years, we will not have a party. I can tell you this.
But that's where that's where people like, or the camp of Kennedy Japan make the analysis that it took Mahama 8 years to reduce the deficit of close to 1 million and win by 1.7 million. So if they say 1 million took 8 years, then how many years will the 1.7 million take?
No.
So they say find X. Maybe you can help us find it.
No. I already told you in 2016.
Yeah.
Mahama got 44%. Bawumia got 42%.
Yeah.
2 percentage point difference. At that time, Mahama was contesting as president. Bawumia contested as vice president. So the dynamics are not the same. Okay. Bawumia has been prepared well enough to win power for us. And here I want to do some comparison with President Mahama. We've prepared him. We've invested heavily in Bawumia. And so we cannot abandon somebody we have prepared to become president. And when the time is so close, then we come and change. Bawumia is the only one who has been on the NPP presidential ticket 5 times since NPP was created. Some people call him a stranger. But he's the one, since NPP was created, who has been on NPP presidential ticket 5 times. 4 times as running mate, and the only time as flag bearer in 2024. So we've invested heavily in Bawumia. We have popularized him around the country. We have marketed him all over. He's gained all the experience. And consistency. Elections in Ghana shows that consistency pays. So if Mahama used 8 years to reverse the gap between him and President Akufo-Addo, why don't we give Bawumia another chance? Another 4 years to also reduce Mahama's deficit. Because Mahama has done that because of consistency. Because on the NDC side, it is also Mahama who has been on the NDC presidential ticket 5 times.
Okay.
4 times as presidential candidate, as president, not as running mate, presidential candidate, 4 times, and 1 time as running mate. That's the opposite of Bawumia. Bawumia did 4 times as running mate and 1 time as president. So if such a person has been able to reverse, to wipe out the gap between him and Akufo-Addo in 8 years, and that man has contested election as president for how many? 4 times. Do you think that Bawumia, who has just contested one election as president, you give him another chance to contest as president, he won't even use 4 years to wipe out the deficit? You don't think so?
Oh, well, your party your party delegate would have to answer.
I'm asking you. You don't think so?
I'll take it as a rhetorical question.
So the dynamics favor Bawumia. Okay? And I believe that if the NPP wants to win the 2028 election. History favors Bawumia. Competency favors Bawumia. Experience favors Bawumia. He's been vice president twice among all those who are contesting. And when I say this, it is not that I have anything against the other contestants. These other contestants are my colleagues, either in parliament or in government. 2 of them, I sat in cabinet with them. Okay? And for 3 of them, I sat in parliament with them. So I'm not against them. They are gentlemen, they are good members of the party. They've contributed their quota to the NPP, to the growth of the NPP. All of them. They are not bad people. But when you want to win election, there is a common saying out there that if they put your mother here and put power here and ask you to choose one, what will you choose?
They say choose power.
Choose power and your mother who gave birth to you. Choose one.
I hear people say choose power and use the same power to take it.
Exactly. Because if you choose your mother, somebody will take the power and use it to molest you and your mother and control you and your mother. But you take the power, go and collect your mother. So it is not about people who are my friends or people who are my colleagues. It's about who can win power for us. That is why we support Bawumia. Because all the factors that will determine election, you go to election with your most marketable candidate. Bawumia has gone around the country 5 times, consecutive times, campaigning. 4 times as running mate and 1 as presidential candidate. Is there a hamlet in Ghana that you will go in and you won't hear Bawumia? Mention Bawumia's name and people will be doubting, who is that? The one the NDC will choose is yet to go around the country and market himself.
Well, but Amin Adam ranks, places Bawumia against all of them.
Yeah,
and they do better than
well, we will come to that. We will come to that. Once we elect Bawumia, we will come to that. They are all now hopefuls. Once we elect Bawumia, we will come to that. You will see. And so I'm saying that if you want to win election, you put your most marketable candidate.
Do you see?
Because I'll give you a simple example. You want to go to the market and buy powdered soap. Powdered soap. Wash your clothes. You say what? You are going to buy one. Answer it for me. How's that the answer? You say you are going to buy one.
I will market a brand. So let me
but
we all know.
All apologies to you. You say you are going to buy Omo. Omo. Is Omo the only powdered soap on the market?
No.
In order not to accuse me of promoting Omo, I will mention the other brands. You know, you have other brands, which are Ariel is there.
We used to have So Clean.
So Clean is there, all of it. But you say you are going to buy Omo. Omo has been marketed. It's not just that. You want to paste. You want to paste your teeth. You want to brush your teeth, and you want to buy toothpaste. What is it you go and buy? What? Tell me.
You told me.
You say you're going to buy Pepsodent. Is Pepsodent the only toothpaste on the market? You have other brands like Colgate. You have charcoal, etc., etc. That is the value of marketing, branding. And so why will you leave somebody who has been branded, who has been marketed, who is so popular across the country, and then go and pick somebody who will now have to go around the country for people to get to know him? And so, yes, people will say NDC is also going to bring a new candidate. But is it not an advantage for us if we put Bawumia, who is most popular, an old candidate against a new candidate? Does that not give us certainty? It gives us certainty that we will win the elections. You go and bring somebody for the first time who is not marketed, who is not popular, against a new candidate of the NDC. They are both doing experimentation.
But are you not sure it's dependent on how this government performs? If it maintains its first-year performance, do you stand a chance against any candidate they bring, even though it will be a first time?
You remember President Kufuor's performance?
Yeah.
Before we lost 2008 election.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yes. But even if we come to this government performance, how is this government performing?
You tell me. You are finance minister.
They've talked about stability of the cedi.
Yeah, we're all seeing it.
And I have already talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They've also talked about reducing inflation, which is positive.
Hugely.
It's positive. But I have said before that when you reduce inflation through demand management policies, the effect of that lower inflation is greater, negatively greater on the people. And that's what this government has done. What do I mean?
Yes, exactly.
To achieve a single-digit inflation, you resort to what we call mopping out. People call excess liquidity. That's what some people call it, excess liquidity. Liquidity in the market, you are taking it out into the Bank of Ghana. The money in people's pocket, you are taking it back into the Bank of Ghana through what we call sterilization. The economists will understand. And so to date, Bank of Ghana, since January, has taken out close to 65 billion Ghana cedis just because they want to achieve single-digit inflation.
How have they done that?
Through OMO, open market operations. They've taken out 65 billion Ghana cedis. And so, yes, inflation has gone down, prices of some commodities have gone down, but people don't have money to buy. That is why this Christmas, the Christmas was abysmal. Traders were complaining. People were not buying their goods. Farmers across the country, from Techiman to Tamale to my constituency, Karaga, they've harvested, but nobody is buying.
Okay,
so
Doc, I want you to help me understand.
Yes.
As I sit here,
yes,
government hasn't taken any money from me.
Yes.
My money that I had is in my pocket.
Yes.
So how do I understand your explanation that government has mopped out 65 billion from the market?
But that is the reality. Government has not taken your money out of it. But the money in circulation in the economy, if it hadn't been reduced, where would it have been? It will be in people's pockets.
Oh, so they've reduced money in circulation?
Yes, that's what we mean by reducing liquidity.
Well, I can feel it anyway, that's why.
Yeah, but the way you were able to buy goods, even at the higher prices, is it the same you are able to do today at the lower prices? No.
Oh, so you're talking about the difficulty people have in sending dollars abroad to buy goods. Is that it?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about removing liquidity. So, for example, Bank of Ghana has their bills, Bank of Ghana bills. It's just like bond or treasury bill. Then I tell you, if you have money, you bring your money to the Bank of Ghana. I'll give you a paper showing that you have money with me.
Okay.
And in 6 months' time or in 1 year, where you want your money, but I'll pay interest on the money and give to you. And there are people who will not take that money back. They keep rolling it over, right? Okay. Getting the interest. But interest is not equivalent to principal.
Okay.
Interest is just a percentage of the principal. So if you were holding the principal, it will mean that there's more money circulating. Okay. But the Bank of Ghana has brought in interest rates on their bills, made it attractive to people who will decide to go and put their money in the Bank of Ghana when they could have used it to do active spending on goods and services.
Is that different from the T-bills? Because I know T-bills interest has gone down.
Almost the same, but T-bills goes to the government and the OMO, goes to the Bank of Ghana.
Okay. But I know the T-bills interest has come down.
Yeah,
So
of course, interest has come down for T-bills. But that of the Bank of Ghana rate hasn't come down.
Okay.
The Bank of Ghana rate for their OMO, their bills, is higher than the Treasury bills rate. And so people will find it more attractive to put their money in the Bank of Ghana. So if the Bank of Ghana didn't offer such levels of attractive interest, people who have money, excess money, that they could have spent on other things, they wouldn't do that because they would rather keep it in the Bank of Ghana.
So if I understand you, there's fewer money now chasing fewer goods.
Exactly.
And that's why prices will drop, or fewer money chasing more goods.
Yeah, there is, in fact, so under normal circumstances, if you are going to control inflation, you have the supply side, and then you also have the demand side. What is the supply side? You induce production. You incentivize production. That's what this government should have been doing, so that they can create jobs, so that there will be more goods. Okay? And when you have more goods and there's also more money, then there's no problem. The inflation effect is neutral. Okay? But where you take money out, and people have produced, farmers have harvested, so there is no money to buy, even when prices are lower. What does that mean? You are not improving on their living conditions.
Ghanaians seem to be enjoying it.
No, you should do a study. And if you're actually listening, you will hear many people complain that they don't have money to buy things. And the traders are complaining that people are not buying. Okay? And I gave some statistics in Parliament when I was debating the budget, which suggests that prices of some goods may have fallen, but there are major basic commodities, right, whose prices have actually increased more than the increase at the time inflation was higher. If you look at the inflation basket, you will see such commodities, and they are basic. One is water. Water. If you have time, I can open somewhere and show you the data. Water. And the other is cooking oil. The other is nuts. Okay? These commodities, their prices, they are basic. Their prices have actually increased, even at period of lower inflation. Because the inflation figure is aggregate. Aggregate. Average of an aggregate. And so, but if you unmax it, unmax the inflation basket, then you will see which specific commodities we are talking about. Okay? So apart from the fact that there's no money, there are some basic goods like water, like cooking oil, whose prices have actually increased.
Cooking oil?
Yes.
Their prices have increased?
Actually increased.
Where? I think they've all
you don't
down.
go to the market. You don't read the statistics issued by the Statistical Service of Ghana, which announces the inflation figure. I'll show you. Let me look for it and show you.
Okay.
The data.
This one says, we the NPP delegate have found X long ago. Vote number 3 on the ballot paper, simple as ABC. Master Planner Junior Policy Analyst in Kintampo says. Okay, all right. Okay, let's see. Have you found it yet?
No, I'm trying to.
Okay, all right then. I thought, well, we'll be wrapping up shortly here.
We can do that later.
Yeah, okay. So your argument is that despite the fact that you have a formidable Canadian Japan in there, you have very firebrand Dr. Brian Achampon, someone who has also been very well groomed for this, Kwabena Japan, and the former education minister. You say, apart from all of this, Dr. Bawumia still stand out.
Of course. There is a common saying that after preaching the whole Bible to you, you still ask me who Jesus Christ is. If you are not convinced by now, even though you are not a delegate, if you are not convinced by now that Dr. Bawumia stands out, then I need to write another Bible.
Okay. We'll leave it to the delegate. but just before I let you go, in a minute or two, how would you summarize Mahama's first year, for his second term?
Oh, I think that President Mahama has taken some good steps. There's no doubt about that. And we must commend him for that. Except that if you look at some of the specifics and you put that against their manifesto and their promises, then you will note that they still have a long way to go. For example, the 24-hour economy was the main premise of their campaign, not even the gold board that they are now talking about or every day. It wasn't the premise of their campaign. It wasn't the anchor. The anchor message that Ghanaians bought into was the creation of jobs. You remember the 133 policy. One job, 3 people, 3 shifts. I don't think they have made a giant step towards achieving it. I don't think so. And I'm really wondering whether even in the next budget, the budget for 2026, I didn't see any conscious budgeting that will seek to achieve that.
Okay.
And maybe in the next 2-3 years, we'll see something positive. But for now, I'm not convinced that, And at the end of it all, people are going to judge Mahama by the number of jobs he creates. Because as I speak to you now, the effect of the Cedi has already been internalized in the economy. It's been internalized in the economy. You are not going to see any revolutionary effect from the door. It's been internalized. Okay, and so Ghanaians are going
but
yes.
That, with the VAT rationalization, has brought some things down. So fuel has come down.
No, but the VAT rationalization, from 21 to 20%?
Yeah.
How can
that 1.9% is heavy.
21. You will see. It will also get internalized. And you are saying fuel prices have gone down.
Yes.
I think that you need to really analyze the oil market today. As I speak to you, do you know there's oversupply of petroleum products in the country? There's oversupply. Central is doing, I think about 30%. We didn't have that. When did Central start? We incentivized the building of Central. It was under our government that Central was built. So if Central is now supplying 30% of the oil, which has increased the stock of oil in the market, oversupply now, the importers are still bringing, more products. That also has effect on prices. Okay. Oversupply can lead to reduction in prices. So it is not only Cedi. That's why I'm saying that as for the Cedi performance, it has already been internalized. You need something additional to feel the effect, of the performance of this government. Okay. So I'm saying that Mahama has just done 1 year. Let's see what will happen in this second year and in the third year. I mean, every party that has come into government, when Nana Akufo-Addo first took government, the first year, everybody, yes, brilliant. Second year, it was brilliant. Even the entire first term, it was brilliant. Okay. But the first year of a government cannot be the same as subsequent years. So let's see how things go.
Okay.
And then Ghanaians will be the better judges.
I am grateful to you for coming here.
I am very grateful to you. And I want to use your platform. I don't think you will subscribe to that, but I want to appeal to the delegates of NPP to vote wisely. And by voting wisely, to vote Dr. Bawumia, Bawumia, because he is the shortest way to winning the 2028 election for the NPP.
All right. Dr. Amin Adam is a former finance minister and a leading member of the Dr. Bawumia campaign team. Well, St. Andrews Senior High School's special admission for SHS 3 students. Have you completed WASI 2025? 1 or 2 subjects failed you? Okay, if it is, never mind.
Just I have the data if you want me to.
Okay, so let me finish with this. Just enroll at St. Andrews SHS, the best private SHS in Ghana at the moment, with excellent boarding facilities. Excellent results in the 2025 WASI. We have locations in Asenfosu, Mankesim, Niwe Dubiase, Dunkwa, Onofen, Shama, and Sefi, Asawinso. We do all senior high school courses. Call us now on 0244 69 69 11. 0244 69 69 11 or 0207 8900. Okay, I think so. That's the number for you to call them on. Richmond Kwame Prempe, good morning to you wherever you are. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Doc, I have just 30 seconds to wrap up. I need to go.
I was going to show you the data from the Statistical Service of Ghana in terms of the consumer price index, the year-on-year inflation. I don't have the data for October, November, December yet, but I have September, which is also very recent. So if you look at year-on-year, September 2024, which will be the basis of our comparison, based on the data we have, water. The increase in price of water was 2.8%. September 2025, 3.6%.
So 2024 was what?
2.8%.
Okay.
September 2025, 3.6%. Tells you that the price of water has actually increased more than what it was at the time inflation was higher.
All right.
I'll give you the vegetable, the cooking oil. So oils and fats. In September 2024, it was 7%.
Okay.
September 2025, 44%. This is data from Ghana Statistics.
And this is what the rate of increase?
Yes. That's year-on-year inflation for specific commodities within the inflation basket. And so you cannot use an average of an aggregate data and tell me that inflation has gone down. Whereas if you unmax it, then you will see those commodities consumers identify closely with, the basic commodities of water, of cooking oil, then you will see a different story.
I think we should have some time to talk about inflation. I have some questions I can ask you, but I'm grateful that you could come here. Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam is the former finance minister and the MP for Karaga, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Karaga people, my people, I greet you. God bless you for electing me into parliament.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have to come to Karaga to enjoy to see.
Come and see the one village, one dam.
I'll come, especially for the one village, one dam. Let me say Happy New Year to my sister, Afiba Ayenzua. It's been a long time that we met. Afiba was my colleague at Ankobra FM in Aksim. Well, we'll take a break here. We'll return with much more. Still looking at President Mahama's 1 year in office and what's happening at the Jubilee House, because I'm told there's a Thanksgiving service which is underway there. We'll take a break. We'll be back with that. Stay on.